Welcome back to the next episode of Dinner with Scott. Today we're going to look at a salmon entree. We're then going to continue on and look at our sorbet, which will cleanse your palate between your entree and your main. And then we're going to look at some of the components that are going to make up our main course as part of our dinner party menu. So the salmon dish I'm going to prepare today has two components. It has a seared component, and I've already got my portions of salmon here squared off, ready to go. And we're also going to have a cured component. So I'm going to work with the cured salmon first. So basically I've got a fillet of salmon that I've actually broken down into the 4 portions. So what I want for the cured is, there's a nice square of salmon there, which just rolled off my hand, but back onto my board. And what I'm doing is cutting it through the centre, just so it's actually going to allow the cure to actually get into the salmon. So onto the actual cure. It's very simple. We need some lemon juice and some lime juice. So we'll just give our lemons and lime a bit of a roll so we can get as much juice as we can out of them. This is a lime, by the way. It's looking a bit yellow, but it is definitely a lime. And we'll see that when we cut inside. There is a difference to the colour. Get out my good old juicer. And we want to get all the juice out of these. So I'm just going to put these into a bowl. Now if you wanted to use the bottled lemon juice and lime juice, you could. It would work just as well, but of course fresh is always best. It won't matter if some of the pith on the inside gets into this, it won't do any damage at all. Now if you wanted to, just before I carry on, you could get the zester, if you've got a zester, and you could take some of the zest off your lemons and limes if you wanted to. That's just a personal preference if you want to or not. It doesn't detract or add to the dish too much, so we'll just put that wee bit in there to show you that you could do that. Now this cure has alcohol in it. Again, you don't have to use the alcohol if you don't want to. You could just use straight the lime juice and the lemon juice, but I find the addition of the gin gives it a really nice flavour. So this could actually just be a recipe by itself, just the gin cured salmon, which you could serve as a little light starter. So there's all our juices done. We'll just try and fish out the old little pip that went in there. One large one, I'll chase around until I get it. There we go. So the gin in the recipe, of course, which you can get from Q for any of the recipes I'm doing as part of this dinner party series, you can add as much or as little as you like, depending on what your taste is. So that was a good glug. Stir that together and then pour it over the top. And it should be covering the salmon. Now of course the reaction of the citrus in there is going to start to naturally cook, if I can say that term, the salmon. Now preferably you'd leave this in the fridge for at least 24 hours, and that's going to actually really cure that salmon. The longer the better, but keep an eye, you want to make sure it's covered. So I'm going to put that in the fridge now, so I've got it ready to do my plate up. So now we'll move on to the other component of the dish, and I want a wee bit more juice, so I'm just going to squeeze a wee bit of the juice out of the last of these inside, so it gives me a wee bit of juice in there, and I've got a wee bit more there. So I just want a wee bit of juice and a wee bit of oil for this next stage, which is making a little apple and cucumber slaw. Got a little, what's known as a little Japanese mandolin that's actually going to let me cut nice thin slices of apple. You could just use a knife, but this makes life a wee bit easier. So we'll just get that last piece out. So I'm going to stack these back on top of each other. use that little bit, and then I'm going to take my knife and I want lots of little thin slices. So I'm basically making like a cold slaw, but this is an apple and cucumber slaw, which is going to be part of the garnish for our entree. So we'll just take that apple. So that's going into that wee bit of juice that I stuck in here. And what's going to happen is it's just going to stop that apple going brown. And I put a wee bit of oil in there as well. So our cucumber, same process. Just cut that down a bit smaller. But with the cucumber, I don't want any of the, or too many of the seeds. So we just want the sides. So again, we'll just stack those back up on top of each other. And so we get some of the green. Don't go this way because you're going to lose the green. If we go this way, we're then going to retain, make two smaller piles actually. We're going to retain the green at the top of each piece of our cucumber. And again, as fine as you can get it, as you feel comfortable with slicing. Nice and thin. So we'll mix that in with our apple. A little bit of sea salt. I'm just going to set that aside. So on to our salmon. I'm going to put a fry pan on the stove and I'm going to start to heat up just a wee bit of grapeseed oil. And we're going to fry our little portions of salmon. So for the other part of the presentation for this is to actually make a herb oil. So in my bottle here, I've actually got one that I've pre-made. So basically, again, you could use something like the avocado oil if you wanted to, which is going to give you that colour on the plate. But if you want to make your own herb oil, again, you can get the recipes from Q. But basically, you blanch off some parsley or some coriander, any sort of green herb, in boiling water for about a minute. Put it into a cold sink, drain off the hot water, refresh it under the cold tap, and then you actually go to blitz it in a food processor with about a cup of grapeseed oil or a mixture of grapeseed and olive, and then put it in a little bottle or into a jug, let it sit overnight and it will actually separate and we'll end up with this wonderful green herb oil. So you'll see that as we put that onto the plate as part of our garnish. So for our salmon, my pan's getting nice and hot. We want to season up our salmon, a bit of salt, a bit of pepper. Now I've still left the skin on these, so I'm going to put skin side down first. So we're going to get a wee bit of colour into our skin. The skin will be a wee bit crispy. I'm not too concerned about that being crispy for this dish. We're going to turn it over. Now depending on how you like your salmon, some people like it quite well cooked, some people like it sort of undercooked. It's just going to be a personal preference to how you like the salmon. So see that bit of skin there? Just push that back down if it starts to curl up. And if it comes off, it's not going to affect the dish too much. I just want to cook those sides a wee bit. So there you can see we're getting some nice colour into the skin and into the sides of the salmon. Now sometimes you could actually also transfer this to the oven and finish it off in the oven, so it's just roasted in the oven to finish off. But I'm going to remove our 4 pieces, because remember I'm doing the dinner party for 4 people. Just take that off the heat. So I'm going to show you how to plate up one of these portions. I'm going to go and get our cured salmon out of the fridge. So you can probably see from the camera, even for that short amount of time, the salmon has started to change colour. So the longer you leave that, as I said, over 24 hours, it's just going to be perfect. But for me, for carrying on today, this is just okay where I want it. So you can see how that's just starting to cook, starting to change the colour. So we're going to take a piece of our salmon, so it's going to sit into the middle of our plate. On a piece of our cured, which we're going to sit on each side. Then we're going to take some of our apple and cucumber slaw. I'm going to finish with that just on top of our cooked piece. Just got some little pieces of herb from the garden just to finish it off. Then here's our little herb oil, and this will be vibrant green on the plate. And I've just got a couple of little segments of lime and lemon that I've just cut out. We're just going to finish with that on the plate. So there you have our wonderful salmon entree for our dinner party menu. That's our seared salmon with the cured salmon, finished with the apple and cucumber slaw. Join me for the next recipe, which will be a wonderful palate cleanser, a sorbet.